Hi everyone, how you doing and welcome back. So today I thought I'd give my sort of final thoughts on Battlefield 5, kind of how it's been over the past 2.5 years since like Battlefield 42 is coming out at the end of this year and sort of EA plays on the horizon and hopefully the beta after that. I thought now is probably the best time to sort of go over it and give my final thoughts on it. So just a bit about the background of kind of how long I played for, and then we're kind of getting to kind of breaking it all down. So in the end, I played for about 15 days total game time, so I think that's like 337 hours. It's on Battlefield Tracker. I played for the whole campaign, so it's probably a bit more there, but multiplayer is about 15 days. Mainly played sort of Conquest, but played all the game modes, but primarily it was Conquest in the end that I kind of stuck to. And I picked it up around January 2019, so I didn't get it on release. The trailer didn't really kind of get me hyped or anything like that, like the previous games. So when I heard about the Pacific rumors coming and like sort of the Pacific getting introduced to the game, I thought I'd pick it up and kind of get on board with it, and I wasn't really disappointed. So just before we jump into it, just saying that this video isn't scripted. It's got a few sort of key points I want to talk over. We'll kind of just go from the top of the head and kind of how I feel about the game as a whole. A few areas we'll talk about and touch upon is sort of the multiplayer, as well as sort of Firestorm towards the end, campaign, and then sort of the final state and conclusion. So my final thoughts and kind of where the game kind of sits for me in sort of the Battlefield franchise. To start off with, I joined sort of Battlefield 5 so towards the end of Season 3, start of Season 4, got about 20 levels into Season 3. And straight away the multiplayer really captured me, especially the movement and gunplay. Like hands down, I believe some of the best in any sort of FPS game of this kind of generation. Definitely any Battlefield game, like going back and playing the older ones, what is still had their charm. Like just the movement system in Battlefield 5 really does hold up well. Like it's just a next step compared to those other games. Being able to sort of vault, climb over, slide. Although like hopefully it's toned down a bit for Battlefield 2042. It does get a bit ridiculous, the slide spamming sort of around corners, stuff like that. Something that's toned down a bit, but like the movement as a whole, really fun and enjoyable, and that's what kept me playing, to be fair, through sort of all the ups and downs, and what made me sort of come back to it as well. Like the movement system was, and the weapon feeling was like no other game. So with the TTK change that kind of took place, that's what really kind of, I guess, not upset me, but like kind of not ruined the game or anything like that, but kind of left a bit of a sour taste. Just the fact that they kind of messed around with it so much and then reverted it, then did it again in the future and then reverted it. I don't see if it really helps new players that are joining the game, just because having a fast TTK or a slow TTK, I don't see how it can affect sort of new players playing. You still got to learn the game. In Battlefield does have sort of a steep learning curve to it once you sort of delve into it. And just by making the TTK higher, it still just helps sort of the more experienced players that have kind of dialed in their settings and kind of know the spray patterns and how many and sort of the sweet spots of different weapons and how many bullets it is to kill at certain ranges and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it still helps the sort of the more experienced player, and just makes it harder for the newer player, just having their sort of land more shots on the enemies and stuff like that. So it left a bit of a sour taste in me. Luckily they kind of reverted it a bit. It's not like kind of where it should be, or sort of pre sort of the TTK change the first time around, but I'm glad they kind of went back on it and sort of changed it a bit, kind of got it kind of a bit better. There's still meta weapons and sort of not you can't really do well with every weapon. There are like sort of better weapons to choose than others, but I'm glad they changed it and it's kind of in a better spot. So speaking of sort of the content, I did enjoy sort of getting to play the lesser known battles. I do wish they kind of had those set piece iconic battles, like D-Day, Battle of the Bulge, Barbarossa, and then maybe did a spin on that. So like you kind of storm the beaches of D-Day, like Normandy, and then after that you kind of go into the lesser known battles that kind of surround that time. So sort of like breaking out and stuff like that, or maybe like Battle of the Bulge, you get pushed back if you're on the Allies or doing the offensive as the Germans, and then you do like lesser known battles within that, just so like you got like kind of an idea of where you are in the whole time, and then you kind of do like lesser known battles in there, just to keep it like just kind of like what everybody kind of knows about World War Two, and then go into those lesser known battles. I think that would have been fun. I don't know if that's what they're going to go with, but I'm still glad we got to see those sort of lesser known battles, but I do wish there were kind of the more iconic ones in there as well. Speaking of content as well, the missed factions, Russia, France. and a few others as well. Not being again as kind of like key factions in there. I do believe that this game could have been sort of one of the better or best World War II shooters of this generation. Just with the content, if that got added in, and then plus the gunplay and the movement system, it could have been really, really up there and sort of competing for one of the best sort of World War II shooters of all time, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Hopefully with 2042 we don't get sort of missed factions. I know it's set in the future now, so hopefully we can get a few more things added in. But I'm real sad to see that we didn't get like the Russians or the French added in. And hopefully if they return to this in the future, I'm guessing it's going to be another 10-15 years time, I'm guessing something like that. It's going to be a while away. Hopefully we can get something like that added in. Hopefully to kind of learn from this. So carry on with the content theme, like the season drops. I did enjoy kind of the seasons, and how they kind of went. It did feel at some points that like you had to sometimes jump on the play so you just didn't miss the content. I know you could get it in the future, but if you wanted to kind of jump on and kind of get the free XP and stuff like that, and like the equipment and weapons, but I still did enjoy it. And hopefully with sort of Halo doing the way they're doing their battle passes, Halo Infinite, hopefully with 2042 they kind of do it that way as well, where people don't feel pressured to play. You can just jump on, level up when you want, just put tokens into different season passes and unlock what you want, and go from there. But within the season pass and sort of those seasons, I did find that the content drops being a bit dry. Like you get the initial release of new weapons, map, vehicles, stuff like that, and then after a while it would kind of be like long gaps between new things getting added, so it did kind of get a bit stale, and you could kind of see other people sort of getting not bored of the game but just losing interest and stuff like that. So hopefully with 2042 they do sort of keep the content more regular, and hopefully just ticking over. That's the one thing I did kind of enjoy about the premium, even though it did split the player base up. You kind of got like big content drops every couple of months. You kind of knew when stuff was coming out and what to expect and what to get, kind of thing. So, but hopefully with this the live service model that they're going with again in 2042, hopefully they've learnt from Battlefield 5, and going forward they can improve on it. Before moving on to the campaign, just want to touch upon Firestorm. I didn't really play it too much. Got a couple of wins both sort of in solo and in squads. Probably played it for about 2-3 hours total. I don't really mind like battle royales and stuff like that, but I prefer when like playing Battlefield, I'd always sort of pick the multiplayer over sort of anything else. But the time I did have on it, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good fun. I do think some things could have been sort of done better with it. It definitely did get neglected after it sort of released. After a couple of patches, it was kind of neglected, which is unfortunate for those people that enjoyed Firestorm. And it's sad that because of that, like the player base, sort of player count of the game mode sort of just dropped off, and it became sort of really hard to find a game. With that, I think it should have probably gone free to play, a bit like what Warzone's done, just to help sort of drive that sort of player base back up, and the player count, sorry, get more people playing it. I mean, that could have really helped it. But I do think with that, maybe like DICE just didn't want to do that, because like they kind of just abandoned the game mode, so they're like, we're working on 2042, so like, you know what, we'll just leave it. It is what it is, we'll leave it how it is. But I do feel some things should have been patched, definitely like the loot. When like you kill an enemy and the loot kind of just spreads out everywhere, that does get annoying. I wish it kind of had a sort of inventory system where you just drag and drop across and kind of call it a day. Then you kind of like look on the floor and kind of pick up what you want and try and drop what you don't want and stuff like that. It just makes it quicker, like kind of what PUBG does. I find that works really well, and last time I played it, which was like a year or so ago, but that kind of system does work, a bit like what Warzone has as well, but it is what it is. I enjoyed my time playing it, and I'm just kind of sad that the game mode, for the people that wanted to play it, kind of just fell off, because it was fun, but hopefully they've learnt from it, and the things that they have learnt they can take forward in 2042 to make it a better game. The campaign of Battlefield 5, really enjoyed pretty much The Last Tiger like everybody else. One of the best sort of campaign stories I played. I mean, it was a bit short, but that kind of story was really fun. It was just a new kind of twist on it. I'm always used to kind of playing from the Allies' perspective when playing kind of a World War II shooter. So it's kind of fun to get to play from the German side. I kind of see it from a different kind of side and through different eyes. It was fun, and I kind of wish it was like its own standalone thing. I think that would have been really fun. Just kind of play through the sort of through The Last Tiger, and sort of being able to play sort of from the start of the war to the end, and kind of, I think that would have been really fun. But the other sort of war stories I did enjoy as well, kind of got to see kind of sort of different kind of unique stories that you don't always hear about. You know, like around during World War Two. You know, like I already mentioned, you always hear like the kind of big set piece battles. So it was kind of fun seeing the kind of more lesser known battles and kind of stories take place. That was fun to kind of get to experience. But for me personally, the Last Tiger kind of steals the show on it. I mean, it was an absolute blast playing it, and I hope we get something like that in a future Battlefield game. I know 2042 is sort of multiplayer live service only, but hopefully if they do bring campaigns back and stuff like that with later Battlefield games, hopefully it's something as good as the Last Tiger, because I really did enjoy that. So to give my final thoughts on Battlefield 5, this game could have been so much more, with some of the best gunplay and sort of movement I've seen in any sort of video game of this generation. Couple that with the World War II setting, it could have been one of the best games sort of within this whole sort of decade, let alone like one of the best hands down within the World War II genre. If they just got the sort of content right, you know, like added more sort of set piece battles, more factions, you know, added more sort of in that whole area. Plus, like, if they pretty much did what they did with the Pacific, where it got loads of people back into the game, but they did that for every update kind of thing, when they introduced like new theatres of war and stuff like that, I do believe like this game could have been one of the best hands down. Which is kind of sad to see. You know, it is fun, and like you can see, like when people have given it a go these past few months, sort of picked it up with Game Pass or just picked it up when it was on sale, and they've said that they've really enjoyed playing it. I mean, it is a real fun game at its core, especially now with all the content kind of being released. There's quite a bit that kind of get sunk into if you're a new player, but you know, as the game over the sort of past 2 years or so, you know, it did kind of lose its steam, especially with like the Rocky launch and stuff like that. It did kind of decide how this game was going to go, unfortunately. But if you do get a chance to like try it and pick it up, I do recommend it, especially on Game Pass. Obviously, Battlefield 2042 is around the corner, but if you do have Game Pass and stuff like that, definitely do recommend giving it a go. I mean, it is fun, and if you're kind of waiting to tie over to 2042, I do recommend picking it up. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down below. You know, always looking to see how other people feel about Battlefield 5. You know, it is one of those games where I do reckon it'd be kind of one of those polarizing games for the next few generations of Battlefield games. You know, people will always be looking back on this game with mixed opinions. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video as well, leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this, plus other Battlefield content, drop a subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one.